The views expressed on the Nova Society are those of the panelists and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Phoenix Research Institute or any institution which any panel member is associated.
I'd like to welcome everyone back to the Nova Society. I'm your host, Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon, and I'm here with my panel, Dr. Scott Gershfor and Dr. Mark Bound.
Anything on anybody's mind?
I heard that Mike Johnson has effectively made every day in the House of Republicans the same day, so that now, between now and September, every day is effectively one day as far as voting is concerned. Some completely bizarre edict that is designed to
we talked about this before, I think.
The same day?
Yeah, it's all one continuous day. It
yes,
has something to do with voting.
Yes, I don't remember that we talked about this before. We did?
Scott, didn't you mention this before?
I don't know. The last person in the world I'm listening to is myself.
Let me see.
I don't remember that we did. And do you think that Trump will allow elections to be held in 2026, or he'll declare some kind of emergency that precludes their being held? Or do you think that he will allow free and fair elections to go forward, knowing that likely, possibly,
so here's what you got. Here's what you got. This had to do with tariffs. And I remember, as you were mentioning it, I've said, so this comes from roll call. It could seem like a day on Capitol Hill never ends. Last week, the House of Representatives Rules Committee made that feel like a reality. Amid debate over the rule that set up a floor vote on the continuing resolution to keep the government open through September 30th, the Chamber's Traffic Cop Committee slipped in a provision which stipulates that for the remainder of the first session of the 119th Congress, there would be no more calendar days, at least as far as President Donald Trump's emergency tariffs are concerned. The language included in the rule for the CR paused calendar days under the national emergency law, effectively curbing House Democrats' ability to force a vote on whether to terminate 3 national emergencies Trump declared on February 1st to launch a maelstrom of tariffs directed at Canada and Mexico and China. It's a procedural move. There's a rule that says that you have to address these things within a certain number of days. Basically, they put this rule into saying there are no more calendar days. It's all just one day. So you're always going to be within the rule. That's the general idea. So if something comes up and it says, hey, and we've had deadlines before, you have 7 days to debate this. Well, now you have an unlimited amount of time because there are no separate days. It's all one day.
How is that? I mean, that reminds me of Stalin, who at one point, and I don't remember when it was, declared that Sunday no longer existed. And from now on, the week would be comprised of 6 days. And I don't know if that lasted for a year, 3 years, something like this. He eventually had to get rid of it because it didn't work out too well. But this, to me, is
it's kind of like saying every day that ends in Y is now the same day.
Yeah,
that's all there is to it.
And knowing these guys, it's a Monday,
right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's a procedural thing that was enacted to be able to stop debate, to be able to stop time limits, to be able to stop those kind of, those provisions. And it was something that was thrown in there. And because the Republicans have the numbers, it was approved. So there you have it. Every day, I don't know what day this went into effect, but every day of the session, and again, I don't know if it's the entire session, if they take a break, if now a new session is considered. It doesn't really go into that as of right now. But yeah, the first session is now only considered one day, even though it could be 90 days in reality. So once again, we're into that. What was that TV show that I used to see back when I was a kid that was terrible? Time Tunnel. We're in Time Tunnel where reality is gone. Whatever day it is what Trump says it is. And we're all happy. And it's sunshine and rainbows and little bunny rabbits. and here's your sign. That's all I can say on it.
And so there is nothing that the Democrats can do.
Oh, and just to let you know, this isn't the first time they've done this.
Oh, really? When was the time before? And who did it?
Well, first of all, in 2021, House Democrats twice waived the expedited procedures under the National Emergency Act, and this really does have everything to do with the National Emergency Act. That's why Trump's putting on the tariffs. That's under the idea of national emergency. So they kind of go hand in hand. National Emergencies Act. I mean, this isn't like for everything else. This is just for this specific thing. Democrats did it in 2021 where they waived the expedited procedure. It's happened in the last time I see, according to this, and I'm trying to run through this as quickly as I possibly can, the last time was in 1983. And I cannot remember what emergency act somebody put in there, but because it doesn't really go into it. So yeah, it just all has to do with the tariffs, any executive order or declaration of national emergency under the National Emergencies Act, enacted by the president, and it basically suspends all the normal rules of time limits that you would normally have in this case. And that's it. That's all there really is to it.
Well, this is another. It's, as we were talking about on an earlier podcast, in a comparison of moves or actions, Trump to Hitler. Hitler basically said, well, we have a national emergency, and he dissolved parliament, and then that national emergency after the Reichstag fire, which the Nazis may very well have set themselves, and likely did, in my opinion, so that Hitler could declare a national emergency and then dissolve parliament and then roll the powers of chancellor and the presidency together. Which he did after Hindenburg died, Paul Hindenburg. The national emergency never ended, of course, and the rights of Germans were suspended henceforth. And so I can see sort of a parallel of using the internal system that we have against itself in order to enable the unitary executive power theory, or whatever that thing is called. Is that what it's called? The unitary?
Yeah, the unitary executive theory.
Yeah.
Theory. Okay, so the word power is not in there to Trump's advantage.
And let's just keep in mind, all of these national emergencies that we're being told are national emergencies aren't.
There are a lot of them, too.
I mean, they really are.
Exactly.
There's like 8 of them so far.
How many? 8?
8. I believe there have been 8 so far.
So what are they?
Well, there's the war on Christmas. That's going to be coming up in December. The national emergency war on Christmas. No.
Well, it will be, because the organizations, companies should be ordering their Halloween and Christmas stuff now, and they know, maybe Walmart can order stuff, but smaller companies don't know what they can order or what the tariffs will be. So there is actually not necessarily going to be a large Christmas stock for any parents or anybody else to purchase from because of Trump's tariffs.
Speaking of national emergencies, Israel's apparently on fire.
What?
Yeah. So so you may remember this, right? On January 20th, I think it was, like for inauguration day, Trump signed an executive order demanding that the Department of Homeland Security and the military make a recommendation within 90 days as to whether we need martial law. I don't think he put it exactly that way, but that was what the idea was. That deadline has passed, and apparently they have not issued a report, although the early money on it was that they were going to issue a report that says there is no national emergency, the border is quiet, there's nothing really going on in the country that requires martial law to be declared. So this week, Trump came out with a new executive order saying that he wants, within 90 days of this order, the Attorney General and Secretary of Defense, in consultation with the Secretary of Homeland Security, to recommend whether you need the provision of excess military and national security security assets in local jurisdictions to assist state and local law enforcement. And within 90 days, they are to determine how military and national security assets can most effectively be utilized to prevent crime. The idea is to put off for another 90 days, another 3 months, this declaration of martial law, like the tariffs, like other things that he's putting off. He hasn't quite got where he wants to be yet, but we can expect it to come around again.
Yep.
Thank you. And you said Israel's on fire?
Yeah. Apparently, enormous fires around Israel that are expected to be terrorist attacks.
How many fires? Because that's just breaking news, correct?
Yeah, I mean, this is just as of like an hour ago.
Uh-oh.
All right, guys.
So we'll have to tackle that one next week.
We will tackle that next week. Absolutely.
Yes. So thank you both. Thank you. And we'll see you next Wednesday.
The Nova Society is a production of Nova Society Media, a division of the Phoenix Research Institute. We'd like to thank our production partners, Buzzsprout, who hosts the Nova Society, Audacity, our editing partners, Apple iTunes, the largest source of podcasts and music on the internet, Spotify, the most popular platform for the Nova Society, and iHeartRadio, your source for all things music and podcasting. The Nova Society is available on all of these and other quality platforms listed in our description. We'd also like to thank all of our listeners. Without your support, the Nova Society would not be possible. If you have a question or comment, we can be reached at nova.society.podcast@gmail.com. So for Dr. Brooklyn Ann Weldon, Dr. Scott Gershwer, and all of our production partners here at the Nova Society, I'm Dr. Mark Bound. Remember, the true power in society is knowledge. Thanks for listening, and we will see you again next time.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening!